Have you ever noticed how easy it is for intimacy to slip into routine? The same touches, the same patterns, the same unspoken pressure to make it good. And yet most couples crave something much deeper, something that feels fresh or playful, maybe even connected. What if the solution wasn't more talking to your partner, but more listening? That's where guided intimacy comes in, and today we want to share what it is and why more and more couples are falling in love with it.
Welcome. You're listening to Do You Feel That? A podcast about closeness, connection, and the little things that make love feel, well, more alive.
We're your host, Scott. This is Scott, my husband, and my name is Brittany. So we are partners in life and in marriage. We are coming here because we believe intimacy is something you can keep growing, no matter how long you've been together.
Exactly. And so our goal each week is to share with you honest conversations and really simple practices that will help couples just like you feel more present with each other, whether it's in or out of the bedroom.
At the end of each episode, really hoping that you walk away with a true desire to listen. This is about audio guided intimacy, so listening is big, but also loving each other a little differently in a good way and enjoying your partner in new ways too.
Yes, so definitely excited to be here and appreciate you listening. This is obviously episode number 1, so we're going to do our best to kind of get through this. But ultimately, our goal here today is to really help define for you what guided intimacy is all about. I'm sure if you're tuning into this episode, you may have a lot of familiarity with it, or you may be hearing about it for the first time. Nonetheless, wherever you're coming from, we want to make sure that you understand really what it is and what it's not, and ultimately how it can improve your intimacy.
Mm-hmm. We have an app, and that is about guided intimacy. So you could have found us through the app and wondering, what is this all about? Why is guided intimacy a thing? And how is this even used? And we can't wait to get into that. Or perhaps you've already used guided intimacy in your relationship and are looking on new ways to expand it. How can this be better? How can we use this in a different way? So yeah, we're really excited to talk about all of those things, what we hope that people find in guided intimacy, and also some of our own experience.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to unpacking that for all of you as you're listening today. And so complete transparency, I know we are recording this now in September of 2025. So the app Coel, which is a guided intimacy app for couples, we haven't launched it quite yet. So if you have stumbled across Coel either through our social channels or YouTube or someplace else, we are hoping within the next couple of weeks to launch it. Mm-hmm. And it should have a ton of audio sessions that are obviously centered around this concept of guided intimacy. So let's go ahead and unpack exactly what guided intimacy is, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there. I know when we sort of stumbled into this world and we try to share it with family and friends, and
even you sharing it with me, I was like, wait, what? We're going to do what?
Yes. So there's definitely a lot of misconceptions. I mean, I think when people hear something like this, they think, oh, maybe this has got to be some sort of form of porn or even erotic audio. If you think about apps like Quinn, and it's in that ballpark, but it's not. I mean, it's actually completely different in its own way. So, So I mean, the best way, if I had to sort of just summarize it for you, is it's really like imagining a guide in your ear, and that guide or that narrator is there. They exist to help you get through a certain intimate experience with your partner. Mm-hmm. And what I love about it is that it keeps the focus centered. And probably the key word for me, or the key theme, is the idea of presence. Mm-hmm. That when you go through a guided session and you've got this narrator, not necessarily in your ear, because we don't necessarily recommend wearing headphones or AirPods.
Sometimes, but most of the time
Yeah,
right. It's on a speaker. You're listening together.
Yeah, so we'll like airplay it. And so that presence, that narrator is in the room, but by simply dialing yourself into what the narration is saying or what you're being guided towards, again, it allows you to be in that present moment, which I think is, I know for you, you've spoken very highly of that because it does allow you to zero in and not focus on these outside factors, right? Like a to-do list or...
Right. And which is exactly how we came into guided intimacy. As Scott actually had us do the erotic blueprint quiz by Jaya, who is a sex therapist. So we're just looking for ways to kind of learn more about each other several years into our marriage, try to figure out how to kind of change our intimate experience into something more playful, not so routine. And so we filled out the erotic blueprint together on vacation, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
took it on a cruise.
yeah, and that's always what you want to do on vacation is fill out a test. But my blueprint is that I am sensual. And so a sensual erotic blueprint, or someone who favors towards that side, really enjoys the setting of the scene and transitioning from real life into a more romantic or even just a different vibe to kind of mark a transition. Like I am ending reality and now I am entering into this intimate experience. So lighting candles or turning on the fireplace. And for us, it's turning on the fireplace app on the TV.
Having the right playlist. I know
playlist.
That's a big one.
Dimming the lights. Sometimes we'll change our lights to a different color.
And since we're on that topic real quick, pro tip for everybody out there. So when we went on this cruise and went on this vacation to sort of and use that time to figure out what our erotic blueprint is. And by the way, Jaya Erotic Blueprint, I'll leave links for all of this in the show notes. So anybody who's curious about actually taking this assessment that we're talking about, highly recommend it. It's kind of like learning your Myers-Briggs score or your Enneagram, but in the bedroom. So really, really recommend it. It was eye-opening for us. But again, going back to this pro tip. So when we were on this cruise, they had like a intimacy setting. I don't remember the name for it.
You can make all different kinds of settings with the lights, with the shades, with, like, so if it was daytime, you would pick whatever it listed it as for that. And the shades would open and the bright lights would turn on. If it was like a chill time, like the lights would dim, the shades would close. What was it called when everything would, and then there was another setting that was kind of more intimate. Everything would turn pink.
Yeah, I forgot what the name of it was.
Shades would also close, but it was just like this glowing pink and red in the room.
So you knew when the bedroom turned pink, it was sexy time. So being inspired by that, I actually installed some Govee lights at home that now turn pink. And it kind of always brings us back to that cruise and the memories there and so forth. So talking about just creating that moment for the sensual blueprint, lighting being part of it, like that's an easy thing to implement. And all of this was part of the sensual blueprint. But there's another part of each blueprint, which Jaya calls the shadow side. It's kind of like that blueprint's kryptonite. Mm-hmm. And so the shadow side of sensual is you can get caught up in your head and almost kind of keep yourself separate from the intimate experience because you're so caught up in your thoughts and your to-do lists and what you have going on in quote unquote real life. The goal is to counter this shadow side by staying present in your body, focusing on the sensual experience or the intimate experience with your partner. Found things like using a blindfold was really helpful for me because it forced me to close my eyes and really think about what I was hearing in the music or even smelling with candles, touching, feeling. But then we also found guided intimacy, and that helped me to stay even more focused by having someone guide my actual thoughts. So just listening to that voice to guide my thoughts or guide my movements and not get so caught up in what am I supposed to do now? What's going on? Like, what am I thinking? Oh, wait, grocery list. It just kind of helped keep me on track. Yeah, and I know here, like in our household, we talk a lot about things like bridging and toggling and
Toggle, that's
yeah,
what Jaya calls it, toggling from
yeah.
real life to the intimate experience.
And so one of the things with guided intimacy is it helps that toggling, at least it plays into it a little bit, right? You would say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where again, instead of being focused on these other outside factors, whether it's making lunches for the kids or did you text that person back or whatever it is, it's like, okay, no, the session's on, listening to the narrator. It helps activate that toggle switch in the person's head, men included. So I know I want to get into the complexities of men and women, but I mean, I as well could have things floating in my head. Maybe I can't shut off my brain. And again, just like it is for women, it works well for men where again, you can just focus in the moment. And that goes back to that earlier word that we were talking about, which is being in the present. And it allows you to kind of stop and pause and realize, okay, this is happening right now. I'm dialed in. Let's go ahead and move forward. And so I think that factor within itself was probably the biggest thing that attracted us to guided intimacy, so much to the effect that it was such a game changer that we decided to create our own app around it, which is why Coel exists. It's there to, it's done so much for us that we wanted to basically return the favor and provide that same benefit for couples everywhere.
But I will say I wasn't sold from the beginning. When you first brought me the idea of guided intimacy, I was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What is this again? Like what? I don't know. I think there are a lot of misconceptions from, even if we talk to friends about it or family, they're kind of like, so you guys are creating porn. And you're like, no, this is not that. You kind of have to. And so I do think there is some misconceptions about what that could be, but really, even after the first session, I was like, oh, okay, this is really helpful because it's not watching or listening to someone else's experience. It's a voice guiding you through your own experience. And so what was really helpful for me, I think, is that, we have little kids. We have busy jobs. And like a lot of people, we're not alone in that. And so a lot of times we'll plan intimacy. And so if we don't plan it, it's kind of like if you don't put it on the calendar, it's not going to happen. And so we may start the week and think like, okay, hey, it looks like Tuesday, what might be a good day to like get the kids down early and try to have time for us that night. And so some weeks I would think, oh goodness, okay, well, it's probably my turn to come up with something. What am I going to do? What am I going to, and then the whole time I'd be thinking like, oh, stink, what am I going to do next? I got to make sure I'm doing this really, really well. I got to, like almost like I was preparing for a performance, where guided intimacy really kind of was this voice that was telling me what to do next, was telling you what to do next, was kind of instructing us together. And so the way I kind of think about it or explain it to my friends who do have kids or my friends who do have a really busy life is like, it's kind of like somebody picking up your groceries for you, delivering them to your front doorstep. You've picked out what you want, but they're just doing it for you. Like, it's like they're kind of helping you get to the end game, which is getting the groceries to your house, getting them in the refrigerator. And that's what guided intimacy is, at least in my mind, is it's like taking another stress away from the experience so that I can actually be present and experience it without the worry or the stress of like, oh, what am I going to do now? Are you liking this? Do you feel okay? Like, those kind of things.
Yeah, it definitely does take care of the heavy lifting, which is one of the magical things about it. The other thing I love about it and sort of the appeal is just the fact that it creates novelty as well. Because, if you're looking at an entire library of different sessions or experiences, whatever you want to call them. I know in our app, we just call them sessions. I know in other apps, they call them experiences. Nonetheless, you have these experiences, these sessions that you can choose from where maybe this Thursday night, like this certain thing seems appealing to you and you could suggest it to your significant other. And again, it's just going to guide you through it. You try that on Thursday and maybe next week you want to try this thing over here and you could send a flirty text, asking, hey, let's do this one. You could share that session. But it gets you down the path of novelty, and
Mm-hmm.
novelty is one of the best things if you want to enhance and sort of revitalize your intimacy. I mean, it's novelties. I don't know. It's one of the coolest things about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I think for us, it's just added variety in a good way. Things that we wouldn't think of, or things that we perhaps like just wouldn't plan ahead for.
Mm-hmm.
I think there definitely are there are definitely times where we have like, hey, are you good with this session? What does this look like to you? Feel like that would be good for tonight? But then there are also times where we've planned ahead without the other person. I'm like, hey, I have a session for tonight. So all you have to do is show up.
Yeah, makes for a great date.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just coming to it like feeling relaxed. And so also I will say with the another plug for Jaya, there is another checklist that you can go through that you and your partner can go through, and it offers all different types of intimate experiences, tools that you would possibly use in an intimate experience. Are you okay with it? Are you really into it? Are you totally against it? So all of that goes to say, like, I know what Scott's up for. I know what he's not up for, and same for me. And so there's some things that it's kind of like we're in the middle ground of like, well, it's okay. Maybe sometimes, but not all the time. And so those are the things I know to kind of like run by him and, hey, like, are you cool with doing this tonight? Like, I know it's not your thing really. So if you're cool with doing it, then, we can do this session. But then there are things I know that he's really game for. And those are the sessions that I can plan ahead without his, express consent. And know that, knowing that up front, I think is very helpful. And so I will plug on just like, if you're first time you're going to do a guided experience, just make sure your partner's on board, make sure that you have their consent and that they kind of have a heads up as to what's going on. And if you like doing these kinds of things and the guided experiences and the sessions, look into doing one of those checklists where you kind of know about your partner, know what they're game for, know what they're not game for, or what's absolutely off the table, so that you're not, picking things that are going to violate their trust.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that I do find to be priceless. It's funny because we've been married close to 8 years now, and we really didn't do that until not too long ago. It's one of those things I wish I would have done year one, is put together that list. And I mean, it is such a game changer.
Almost always going to have one partner that's more adventurous than the other.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But, that partner needs to know what's completely off the table, what's, a sometimes thing, what can be a really good thing. And then the other partner needs to know, like, okay, like, my partner's really adventurous. And so, how can I stretch myself in ways where, once I feel like this trust level is established, how can I stretch myself in ways that, would be good for them and possibly good for me, but also really like knowing that the things that are off the table for you, that's okay too.
Yeah.
That you can be solid in that.
Yeah. Yeah, you already mentioned the word consent. I mean, that's obviously a very important thing. Obviously, we don't anticipate everybody that's doing guided intimacy is married or in a long-term relationship. So, whether you're in a new relationship or just dating or whatever it may be, I mean, again, the consent, safety, those are always two important themes when considering something like guided intimacy or really anything surrounding the whole topic of intimacy. So hopefully at this point you guys have a better understanding of kind of sort of our attraction to it, like what sort of pulled us into guided intimacy. Maybe before we move on into actually maybe just giving you some basic tips and tricks as far as how to get the most out of it, I think it would be remiss on our part not to talk about kind of what it is and what it's not, because I think there are those misconceptions that you were talking about, and I know we kind of kicked off with that a little bit as well. Just a couple things just to kind of just be straightforward with. obviously guided intimacy does not exist to replace your partner. It's there for you and your partner to use together.
It's an enhancement.
Yes, that's the whole point of it. It's also not something that's meant to be performance based. So it's there for enhancement. Nobody's keeping score. There's no end goal in mind. So again, it's not a performance based activity. It's just something that it's an experience that you go through together with your partner. I think that's
in
really
fact,
important.
a lot of sessions are open ended. You know, and so, you know, a lot of the sessions are like, okay, we're going to leave you here. What you do after this is totally up to you. And so thanks for listening to this session, you know, and so you can choose to stop, you can choose to keep going, you can choose to listen to another session, you know, whatever feels right.
Exactly. So I think it's important to define that because I know there is a lot of confusion on, again, what it is exactly and so forth.
And I would say also with it being an enhancement, I don't necessarily know I would call this a therapeutic tool. I think it can enhance therapy. It can enhance your relationship. It can enhance your intimate experience, but I would not use this in as a replacement for therapy. You know, if you feel like you and your partner need therapy to work through any intimate issues that you're having, definitely reach out to a sex therapist or a marriage counselor to try to help you through those issues. Our hope is that these type of sessions, our app can help you along with that. Just kind of helps take some of the stigma away from intimacy that exists in our culture. But we definitely don't want you to use it in place of that.
Yeah, and that I'm glad you actually brought that up because it kind of fits well into this because sometimes people think maybe they are struggling with a dead bedroom and maybe are living in a sexless marriage or a sexless relationship and maybe you haven't done it for a month or 2 months or 6 months. There is this, because sex therapists do recommend guided intimacy. So a lot of people may think, and here's one of those misconceptions that, oh, well, guided intimacy, that's only for couples who are struggling or couples who have a dead bedroom. And yes, it's really great for that because it is an enhancement. It is going to give you that novelty. It is going to sort of reinvigorate your relationship. So it is for those couples, but it's also for couples who are in healthy relationships where they are looking for variety. They're looking for something new. Maybe are active in their sex life, but they're finding themselves falling into predictability or routine. They're doing the same moves. They're doing the same techniques. They're kind of
starts out every way.
Yeah,
the same way every time.
Yeah,
like,
so ends the same way.
Lit the candle. Here we go again.
Yes. You know? So this will obviously spice that up. So whether you're struggling or in a healthy relationship, there is a place for guided intimacy.
Yes. So we really hope that people who are using Coel, couples that are using Coel, just really feel that, see that, you know, as a way to just enhance what you already love about each other. And, you know, if you are in a place where you're feeling really stuck or you're feeling like it's been so long, I don't even know what to do, we got you.
Yeah. Yes. So now that we've kind of outlined that for you, we'll just kind of walk you through. I'm sure you've got a ton of questions. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably wanting to get as informed as possible, or at least collect as much information about guided intimacy. So we'll kind of just walk you through maybe just a few pro tips and tricks, hacks, things that we would recommend to sort of maximize the guided intimacy moment. So we kind of kickstarted this conversation earlier about us going on our cruise, the lighting, particularly for those that do score as that sensual blueprint, erotic blueprint type. I mean, lighting, music, those are important things to have to help sort of, again, maximize the experience. So
it doesn't always have to be the same lighting, the same wind down routine, the same, you know, maybe it's you send your partner for a walk and give them 20 minutes, you know, to just decompress before coming back to the bedroom and, you know, jumping in to an intimate session. So, it doesn't have to be the same thing every time. It's not going to be the same thing for everyone, because, you also don't want to, feel like, oh, here we go, we're doing another guided session. It's going to feel routine again, but, just trying to like create some distance from reality, some distance from the day, so that you can really enjoy each other and just enjoy whatever intimate experience that you have planned.
Yeah, and I feel like as we continue to talk here and unpack a lot of stuff, like we definitely need to dedicate an episode towards the erotic blueprints. We should,
yes, definitely.
We'll put that on our calendar. We also need to do an episode, as I'm hearing us talk back, about why the pros and cons of scheduling sex into your life. We definitely fall into the camp of, we think it is valuable, obviously, to schedule. We've talked about this earlier. Definitely we'll do a session on that as well, or a podcast episode about it. But here's another one of those topics that toggling is another one that we probably need to do an episode about. But the one that I wanted to talk about real quick, kind of in this whole idea of setting things up and maximizing the moment, is kind of a common sort of practice or term or approach, whatever you want to call it, in the sex therapy world, is the idea of accelerators and brakes. That and I'm not going to belabor this here again, we'll save that for another episode, but you as a person, just like you need to become self-aware with maybe what your erotic blueprint is, you also need to be self-aware and really figuring out what are those things that sort of activate you, which is sort of those accelerators, and what are those things that pull you out of the moment, which are the brakes. Again, I'm not going to belabor this here, but there is some personal homework that everybody has to do in knowing, again, those things that activate you and kind of get you set up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, whatever it may be, and those things that sort of, again, pull you away from it. So if you can know that about each other, obviously, that's
even more helpful.
Yes, exactly.
But the first part is you got to learn it about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, when getting set up for a session, typically what we do, everyone could do it a little bit differently, is because we usually have a plan of like, hey, Tuesday night looks pretty good. Then maybe Monday night or Tuesday morning, or, before we leave for work, we might be like, okay, let's open up the app. Let's look for a session. What looks good to you? Or maybe we could have 2 or 3 different options, just depending, because you never know what your day's going to look like. Some days you get home and you're like, I need something relaxing. Some days you get home, you have energy for something a little bit more. So you never know. So sometimes we'll have different options, but usually we have something that we both kind of agree that, like, yeah, that looks really good to me. Or if it's my turn to plan, then I might look for something. Usually if I'm planning, then I'm trying to make the session more Scott oriented, something that I know Scott would really like. Trying to set something up for him, almost kind of like, okay, this is my way to kind of pamper you tonight. So sometimes I'm looking for a session that I know is really going to interest him, one of his favorite things, something that is really pleasurable for him. So yes, first things first, picking a session. And once you've got that session picked out, then when it's time to come together, then you can get the room set up however you feel like it's necessary, changing the lights, lighting a candle, putting fireplace on the TV if you're us, closing the door, making sure, kids or pets are not going to interrupt you, and then getting to that moment where you feel like you can press play for the first time.
Yeah, and we'll be honest with you. Really, the inspiration behind Coel was, we thought, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but I thought we could do it better because we have tried a variety of these in the past, and they weren't necessarily fitting. I mean, they were great starting out because it was new to us, but then once we kind of got accustomed to it, we realized, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this one. So there, I remember particularly we were listening to
some AI voices.
Yeah, AI voices, or there was one that we were listening to where, like, I get erotic audio. I've heard my fair share of erotic audio, but like on this guided session, like the narrator started to kind of sort of involve himself in it, and it's just like,
it felt really awkward. We're like, we didn't want you here.
Yeah, just
like we did, like, but like not here like that.
Yeah,
so
we just want you to narrate, like, so that was a little funky. But so I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some really great ones out there.
Yeah.
There's some really bad ones out there.
But also we wanted more variety. So,
Yeah.
we felt like there definitely should be more variety and something that put more of the focus on the couple and not on the narrator, for sure.
And that whole process of picking a session, again, you can do it as sort of a reward or a surprise for your significant other, or you can do it together. But just that whole thing is, I think it's fun. Like just it gives you something to look forward to, and just like anything in life, right? It's about the anticipation and knowing that this is on the calendar, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing, which is great. So, all right. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So I guess at this point, maybe just to kind of make sure we're touching all the components of what guided intimacy is all about, we'll just kind of just shed a little bit of information on maybe kind of what you can expect from an experience and sort of maybe what you would feel like walking away from it. I know for us, obviously, it was sort of a deer in headlights at first when starting, but obviously we kept coming back to it because we saw way more value in it, right?
And I think even the first session that we had, within a few minutes, we started to, we're very comfortable with each other. So there was a level of comfort and trust that we have with each other already. So now it was just this new thing.
Yeah.
And so within a few minutes, we were either laughing at the AI voice of pronunciations of different words, which was kind of funny sometimes, or just kind of laughing at each other like, oh, like, what is this guy doing? But like just trying to keep the focus on each other. But I would say within a few minutes, for me, being a sensual blueprint, I could feel that like, oh, this is really helping me to focus my thoughts, to like leave the stress of the day behind, to leave the to-do list behind, and really kind of focus in on my partner and this moment that we have together that, we don't have a lot of free time in our lives. And so we want these moments to be focused on each other. We want these moments to be precious. And so it was getting me to that point in a way that I didn't feel like I had at home before. It's easier, I think, when we're on vacation. I think, people talk about vacation sex. It's great because you're not in your real life.
Yeah.
That's why it's so good. You're not in your real life. You don't have the stresses of your everyday, your job, your to-do list, cleaning the house. And so there is this feeling of weight off of your shoulders so that you can enjoy each other. But at home, when you do have to schedule things and you do have the stress of life, it's harder to make those moments intimate. And so that's where getting into the experience, within just a few minutes, I was like, oh, I do feel like this is working. Like I am not self-conscious about what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. I am not thinking about the outside world. I'm just thinking about this moment, I'm thinking about Scott, my partner, and just being together.
Yeah, it's I'll admit, it was awkward for me at first. And when I say at first, I'm really talking just the first minute or two. You're like, oh, what's this? You're inviting
or
someone,
even pressing play felt probably a little bit awkward.
Yes, and it's like you're inviting someone into your bedroom, but they're not really there. Again, it's just a narration, and so it is awkward at first, but again, within a few minutes, you kind of like, okay, I get what this is all about. And yeah, it just transports you into a different place, which is really what makes it, again, I've used this word before, but it is what makes it magical. The other thing too that I love about it is, I didn't even touch on this before, but particularly like for those that maybe you define your sex life as vanilla, where you're not going to be exploratory with different things. So maybe some things are going to be completely new to you. Maybe your entire marriage has just been existing around the missionary position and nothing else. Or maybe you do the missionary position and one other position, and those are like your two go-tos. Or maybe you are getting married and you're young, and just the whole idea of the bedroom environment is completely new to you, or you're in a new relationship and you're not even married, whatever it may be. What I love about guided intimacy is it again, it's like holding your hand, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
you've never done this before? Let me show you what to do and how to do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like if you haven't, explored a certain position or a
Or even
certain
just
technique.
a certain touch.
Yeah.
Because I, was talking about how just emotionally, mentally, within a few minutes, I could feel the switch. Could feel like, oh, I am more present right now. Like this is really working. Physically, also, could feel the difference because just being able to be mentally present, then physically things were better. And that doesn't have to be anything graphic. Just talking about like maybe a light touch on the arm or the leg in a certain way.
Or rotating circles in the middle of the hand.
Right.
Or
Things that we would have never thought of before. Someone was explaining to us to do, and it was like, oh, and so we try to give each other feedback pretty often of like, that feels really good. I like that. And so the next time, even if we're not doing a guided session, because you do not have to do a guided session every time you're intimate. It gives you some more tools in your tool belt. Like, oh yeah, you really liked it when I did that circle around your palm, or you really liked it when I kind of briefly like touched you on the shoulder or the middle of your thigh, like whatever that was. I can remember that touch that you liked that kind of helped set the mood and accelerate, like we were talking about, those accelerators, to kind of help, put some gas on the fire.
Yeah, definitely. So there's so many benefits to it. And like Brittany just mentioned it. Yeah. I mean, I would never recommend doing it every single time. I mean, just like
there's only so many times that you can play one CD.
Yeah. So just like anything, everything in moderation. But yeah, I mean, if you throw guided intimacy into the mix, like, yeah, it's a welcomed addition. It's a great value add. And I think you get a kick out of it. So, so hopefully at this point, we've talked a lot about what guided intimacy is, what it's not, kind of what it looks like, what our experience with guided intimacy, what that's actually looked like as well. Probably one final thing that we can talk about, just to make sure we're covering all our bases here, is just the idea of aftercare. One of the things I'm really excited about Coel is when we're going to launch it, we're planning on launching with 17 different sessions. I'm kind of calling that phase 1. In phase 2, I actually have, right now I've got a session dedicated to aftercare, because it's one of those things that just gets overlooked. So if you're like aftercare, afterglow, what is that? It's the time that you take when you're done with your intimate moment, carving out those 3, 4, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it may be, and just being in each other's embrace. And maybe it's a cuddle, maybe it's just laying together, that part there. And there's so much science behind this, but that moment aftercare is just as important as the actual
there's so much
intimate moment.
There's so much out there about how to arouse your partner, how to get them going. There's not much out there about how, like, the cool down, right? There's the warm up, there's the session, and there's the cool down. And that's what aftercare really is. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of these sessions are open-ended. And so they're going to walk you through, most of these sessions are going to walk you through a warm up. And so, and then, the big main event is going to probably be up to you for a lot of the time. And then that also leaves that aftercare up to you. And so we would just highly encourage not to forget that aftercare. You can look like you said, like cuddling, or, just kind of being quiet together for a few minutes. But also just talking about how it went. What did you like? What was your favorite part? Like, what did you think was absolutely ridiculous and you'd never do again?
Yes. Yeah, it is a good time. It gives you an opportunity to obviously have some of those more open discussions and, create that good conversation. So it's kind of, to me, it's like it completes the trifecta, because there's all the stuff that you do beforehand. It's the toggling, it's the flirting, it's the set up the things where those accelerators can be activated. Then there's the actual moment itself. And then, kind of the icing on the cake is making sure you do not neglect the aftercare moment, and maximizing that part of it, because it's equally important. So, And like we talked about, I mean, this is stuff that we definitely touch on with guided intimacy, and a good guided intimacy session will lead you up to that moment and guide you through it. So, all right. So as we begin to sort of wrap this up, hopefully at this point, you've got a pretty good understanding of what guided intimacy is. I feel like we've done a fairly good job at unpacking kind of what it's been like for us and how it's sort of been a game changer for our marriage and our intimacy. I guess maybe we could wrap up with maybe what we would sort of call our main takeaways. And if there's a few things that we could summarize that we want you to remember from this, we'll sort of start unpacking those for you now.
Yes. Number one, guided intimacy is for you and a partner. And it is an audio session. So there's no videos, there's, no physical person or something to watch. It's really just a voice telling you and your partner what to do, where to go, whether it just be looking in each other's eyes, breathing together, touching each other, massaging, using a toy if you pick a session with that. And so first you need a partner and then you need Coel. Second is thinking about this as a way to kind of, take some of the stress of intimacy off of your plate. Whether you're stressed about trying something new and what does that look like and what do I do? I don't want to look stupid. That can help take that off of your plate too, but just also help to take the mental stress of intimacy away from you and kind of help keep you focused in the moment, so that the precious few minutes that you and your partner do have together are actually spent together, and you're physically in the room, but you're also mentally in the room together.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I think those are all good ones. And, and I'll just reiterate what I talked about earlier. I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest selling point for me with guided intimacy is again, going back to the idea of being in the present moment, that having that guide, having that narration. And again, more episodes we can talk about. It's like, again, the science of guided intimacy. That's another episode that we can address. But it does center you, it actually centers both of you. And it's just a beautiful thing when you can be in the moment and not somewhere else, right? Mentally and emotionally.
So let's try a challenge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Let's challenge the listeners.
Yes, that is our challenge. So right now, obviously, Coel does not exist. So our challenge to you is to find a guided intimacy session out there somewhere. There's stuff on the web. There's other apps.
Or perhaps you're finding this podcast after we've launched.
Yeah.
Because it's not far away.
Yeah, true. Then try Coel. But download a session.
Coelle. Yeah. That's how you spell it.
Yeah. Download a session, give it a spin, see what you think about it. And I'm hoping your experience is going to be as positive as it's been for us. Mm-hmm. So with all that said, that I guess is officially a wrap. I think for next week, I'm kind of leaning towards doing a episode on the pros and cons of scheduled sex, or do you want to do a different topic?
No, yeah, we can do that. Why scheduling intimacy is important. Obviously you can't only schedule it. There's always like those brief moments of
I mean, everybody enjoys. There are a lot of arguments, obviously.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead, finish your thought.
They're not always brief.
Yeah.
But there can be sparks sometimes that are unplanned.
Yes.
So sometimes they're brief sparks, but sometimes they're long fires. So, but why it's still important to not just, rely on your laurels, to actually like schedule out a few possible dates for the week or just plan hard set dates. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I know I was in the spontaneity camp for a long time, and I had to eventually buy into the idea of scheduled, and I get it now. But yeah, we'll talk about those pros and cons. We kind of come from both sides, and we'll be sure to unpack that in greater detail in the next episode. So yeah, with all that said, I want to thank you guys for joining us here for episode number 1. Hopefully you found this of value.
Yes.
And yeah, we will, our goal right now is to, I believe we're going to try to publish these every Tuesday. So yeah, look for that next episode number 2.
Check out the show notes for any resources we've mentioned, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have your own stories or questions, that you want to share, or questions you need answered, anything we didn't explain. If you need more detail, we're happy to help.
Or if you have suggestions for future episode topics, we'll be happy to address those and tackle them one by one. So thanks again for your time, and we'll catch you in the next one.